Hello and welcome to the Ramon Foster Show, coming to you on my end from Orchard Park, New York. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. He's Ramon out there in Hendersonville, Tennessee, far enough from this mess to avoid the stench.
That's what I was going to say. You're probably the only Steeler fan in Orchard Park right now smiling. If it's not, smiling through your pain is what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess you could. Every time I come here, it feels like that, but that's another matter entirely. Not exactly the most scintillating sociological space on earth. 38-3 was the final, ugliest loss of the Mike Tomlin tenure. A 1-4 start, almost the ugliest start of the Tomlin tenure. And Moan, you were part of the 0-4 team.
Yeah, I was.
That fell to that record in London. Why would this be different than that, or is it?
I think it's different because we had a lot of the pieces necessary. We had enough veteran guys on our team to actually pull it together to finish out the season at 500, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking at this group right now, and I see DK, do we call this a revamp, a restart, a rebuild, anything other than a finished team right now?
But who would call it that? Who in this, these people, Moan, who in this organization would say, tomorrow at Mike Tomlin's press conference or Wednesday at practice, hey, listen up, everybody. It's a rebuild now. Who's going to do that?
You know what? It's nobody in Pittsburgh, I don't think. Well, inside of 3400 South Water Street, the Pittsburgh Steelers headquarters, I don't see that being the case. I will say this. It's early enough in the season to where you don't want to believe it. I'll also lean on the side that nobody knows what this looks like in current history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You legitimately don't, because the team has been, for the most part, above board competitive almost every single year. Like, it's been a lot of those things that we have never seen. We've never been in a position where we're searching for a first round quarterback, so we start to tank. You have your quarterback. You have some pieces of a good team. You have TJ, you have Cam over there, you have Minka over there, you have a bunch of youth that's there or good enough pieces to sustain a good team, but you don't have enough supporting cast to actually get the job done. And there's not enough execution on game day to help me believe that this is a team that's gonna fully compete as we make it through 5 games of this short season right now.
Oh, this is bad. This is bad. This is not. I'll say it. I was over in London covering it. This is not that, okay? This is just a team that just does not have answers. I'm in that locker room over there and talking to these guys and listening to the head coach, unable to come up with answers because there aren't answers. There aren't players that you can just say, hey, we're just going to sub this guy in and sit that other guy. The other guys don't exist.
No, they don't, DK. And because of that, nobody wants to really live this or say it. Kenny's the guy. There's so much hype around him. But let's go this route too. Even if this isn't a rebuild, you look at what the Buffalo Bills are, and you look at what you just saw out there as far as performance, there's nowhere near being close to being competitive. Even if it ain't a rebuild, you're too young, you're too out of sync, you're too everything but that close to be competitive. So I look at this team and I even say to myself too, well, if it is a rebuild, right now I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the number 1 draft seed as it stands. I saw something analytically earlier and it says, we are the number 1 pick. And if I ask you, because I think there's so many different pieces, DK, what are you even drafting?
Oh, no. We're doing this in week 5.
I mean, legit, and I asked that only because, one, you can throw those answers into the comments, but the other part is you picked this high for a quarterback. That's where we at. Like, you picked that high for a left tackle. Maybe you go get that one, but you got a guy that's been starting 2 years now. Do you go get a guard? Do you go get a DB? Are you willing to have a top 5 pick right now? Because that's where we're headed, it seems. Do you go get a cornerback at a top 5 position? Do you go get another DN when you get Alex Highsmith and you also got TJ Watt? You see what I'm saying? Like, do you go get a D tackle? You don't pick D tackles that high. So what do you even go get?
I don't know. What a thing to be talking about in week 5. Moan, listen to you over there.
We'll just drop that nugget right there. But this is the most disheartening thing of it all, I feel like. You have so much talent offensively as far as skill goes. I see it. You know it's there. Should Dejounte be playing at a higher level? Yeah. So should Chase Claypool be playing at a higher level? Yeah. Okay. Should there be more creativity or more certainty on what you're running offensively? Yeah. So I look at it and say, I love all these things. I hate that the young quarterback is a young guy. I hate that he has his offensive coordinator at this point right now. Those are the things we can be real about, because I'm looking at it and saying there's not a whole lot of help. You got false starts on the offensive line or on players offensively when this shouldn't be the case. And I just don't know if this group knows how to compete, because there's not that one guy on at least on the offensive side of things that knows how to compete. I look at defensively and say, I just don't think it's good enough. The more I see of Miles Jack, the more I see of Devin, the more I see of other guys along that defensive front not named Cam, the more I say to myself, there's just too many gaps. That's why I'm asking the questions. What do you even go draft? Who are you tanking for?
What do you think of Pickett?
I thought it's solid. I like his competitive spirit. I see him being able to extend plays. I see him being able to make plays. That was a lot of times. That's the reason I brought up the wide receivers. The balls are hitting them right in the hand. I like that. I love the competitive edge of him understanding when somebody's doing him wrong by grabbing his leg and he pushes and shoves him. I love the fact that he stays in the pocket and deliver passes. I hadn't seen anything overly egregious other than a young guy sometimes getting exposed, because defenses are like that in the NFL, where he'll throw a ball right there and it just so happens that a Buffalo defender drops it. You know, like, it's those things right there that has to get sharper. You know, I'm watching the TV broadcast of it, and I'm watching wide receivers not help him, according to an NFL quarterback like Tony Romo saying if Chase Claypool moves further across the field than up the field, then it'll lead him to be more open. Like, I know he has those things in him, but it's, again, everybody around him have to be the ones to help him the same way the 2014 helped Ben Roethlisberger.
When we come back on the Ramon Foster Show, how one particular player came to help Kenny Pickett. And I know Moan's going to love this subject. Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show. And there were a couple of times that Kenny Pickett took some cheap hits. Yeah. And the Bills have that edge to them, and that's going to serve them well over time, because they can eat the flags. They don't care about the flags. 15 yards is nothing to them. It's 1/4 of the next play that they're about to execute.
Yep.
DeMar Hamlin came in late, his former Pitt teammate on Pickett.
Yeah.
And then we saw, who was it? Zach Lawson.
Shaq Lawson.
Shaq Lawson came in and got Kenny down low, really ticked him off here. But the big one was the first one.
Yeah, it was, man. Go ahead.
And all I was going to say is, no, you go with the hit first, and I'll bring up the other thing.
I was glad to see James Daniels be down there for his quarterback.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Whatever fines happen after that, it's supposed to happen. And guess what? If that group ain't right-minded to chip in and help him pay for it, although he's paid enough, well, not paid enough, although he has his own bread, then something's wrong there. That's what you're supposed to do. I like that. I love watching guys defend their teammates. I love watching guys take that next step, because in that moment, even though James threw his hands up, guess what? He knew that's what he was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and from that point on, I'll take whatever fines are coming my way, but there has to be a line in the sand when it comes down to what's susceptible. I know he's a rookie. You don't get that free shot on him regardless.
No. And then as James Daniels told us after the game, he said, that's our franchise quarterback there. I just, you can't allow it.
No.
You can't have it. And I just wondered if maybe we didn't see the first sign of what we've been waiting for a while here with this offensive line, is someone to stand up, someone to be a leader.
Yeah.
It's one thing to stand there in front of people like, me and other reporters and whatever. That's kind of leadership, but it's not all the way leadership.
Yeah.
This was more in line with that.
Can I say this though about the OL? I'm not defending them because they got their deficiency. Vaughn like things today. They got pushed back. I still thought, watching a couple guys like Dan Moore get pushed back into a sweep play, wasn't a big fan of that at all. There was some bullying, but these guys as a whole, DK, have somewhat come together. I will say that. But the thing is, DK, is when you have drop balls or you have inconsistencies of what you're running offensively, this group can't shine. Like, there's one thing players like myself, offensive linemen, always had an issue with. When you're giving your all every single play, you're battling, you're going, you're knocking folks over, you're moving bodies, and guys don't either hit the gap right when they're supposed to run the ball, or you have receivers that drop balls or won't go get the extra yard or two. Like, that's bothersome to guys up front that got to deal with that physicality every single play. This group hadn't been atrocious. It has not been good either, but it has gradually gotten better for a group that's just not coming together for its first time as a unit. Again, there are certain groups in this league that are just that good. Right now, the Steelers OL ain't that good. So we got to stop. Okay, pile on them if you want to, but they hadn't been the weakest link when it comes down to this offense. The weakest link to me when it comes down to this offense has been the consistency in the production of those talented, and I can't stress this enough, talented wide receivers. Me watching the replay of this game, I'm like, you should be working him. You should be working him. Where's the development of understanding creases, soft spots when it comes down to them playing zone? Teams do that to our defenses.
When we come back, the only segment that matters.
Hey, Mon.
Welcome back to the only segment that matters. It's the Hey Mon segment here on the Ramon Foster Show, coming to you from both Orchard Park, New York, scene of a crime against humanity, and Hendersonville, Tennessee, a scene of Mon celebrating Tennessee's greatness in football.
Yes, absolutely. I'll take it, man. I got to have something good on weekends.
Yeah, this ain't it. That's for sure here. This segment of the Ramon Foster Show is brought to you by the Get Go Cafe and Market, where it's all about quality. 3 expert chefs fine-tune every detail, so every sub and burger, salad, wrap, drink, and appetizer gets made with fresh ingredients and always tastes amazing. Order your favorites at the Get Go Cafe and Market today. Better believe it. And today's entry comes from David, who asks, Hey, Mon, why is it a bad idea to fire Matt Canada in season? The Steelers always hire in-house anyway, and Mike Sullivan's going to be the next OC. They should dump Canada ASAP.
Oh, wow. That's tough. Why hold on to him? He has your rookie quarterback's ear right now. This is one of those situations where, as we spoke about earlier, DK, if it's tanking or we find ourselves in a rebuild that's drafting early in the draft, I mean, what are we trying to do? Make it better by getting the 12th pick instead of a top 5 pick? Like, it's legitimately there. I'm not saying that's the thought process. You ask my opinion, I say let them ride it out. If it's bad, then guess what? Kenny, you know what good looks like next year. Because if this team is below 500, drastically below 500, we will find ourselves in a position where change has to happen. I'm talking about having to. The issue you run into, though, is if you go out and get a really good offensive coordinator, a really good OC, guess what? This is the issue in all sports right now, well, college and the NFL. If you got a bona fide A-list play caller, he will be somebody else's head coach a year or two right after it. So it's a matter of which devil we want when it comes down to a guy that's good at play calling. What you love to happen is a quarterback that becomes very dynamic, and you have a mediocre play calling, and the quarterback can outcall his OC. I don't think we're there right now. What I'm hoping is we have to go get a very strong offensive-minded guy to be able to create. If you have your deficiencies, good enough to hide them. That's just where we are right now. Firing Matt Canada, if they did, I know a lot of people rejoice and be happy. But at this point, looking at the rest of the schedule, give me a top 5 pick. I hate to even be in that conversation, but give me a top 5 pick if that's the case.
You had me at rejoice and happy. I wouldn't have even brought him home on the charter flight.
I know.
You know, I wouldn't have brought him home on the charter flight after those 2 handoffs late in the game Back-to-back handoffs on first and second down. They're down 100 points or something.
Yeah.
And Kenny's throwing very efficiently, very accurately. He's able to run a lot of different things for you, and he tries handoffs on first and second down and sticks Kenny with 3rd and 8. I just that's it. Listen, Buffalo's only a 3.5-hour drive from Pittsburgh. You can go rental car. Okay, or it's also, I don't know how many hours it would be to walk. It's a little bit chilly up here, and you really don't want to have too much bad press over it. But make him walk. Make him walk.
Well, I guess the good thing you can rejoice about, DK, and I saw you ask this question too. You asked the question, who's safe? At least I think it was defensively. If somebody asked it defensively, and to his credit, he said nobody. And
that's what he said. Guessing, I couldn't. Were you surprised at his answer to my question? Yeah.
He's never that transparent when it comes down to team structure. With that being said, I guess for anybody's concerned, that means coaches, that means scouts, that means players, that means backups, that means anybody can be brought into the fold and say, hey, it's just not good enough. We thank you for your services. So even though I say keep them just because of there could be some nuggets brought out of this Matt Canada or this offensive side of response to losing like this, he did put it out there, DK, and I think it was you that asked that question, and he gave it to you all the way raw. He said anybody.
Oh, I'm not even waiting till the second paragraph for that one. Believe me. That's going right after Orchard Park, NY, period.
This is new for us, y'all. Buckle up, man. Get a parachute and a life raft. Do not ride on the Titanic. Stay safe. Walk in between lines. Don't walk under ladders. I can go all the way down. It's gonna be that bad. This is breaking the mirror 7-year itch type of bad. If we don't get this thing corrected. Stepping on cracks, breaking mom's back, all of those things, man.
To use a term that the locals would appreciate, don't be going in a barrel over Niagara Falls. Because that's kind of how this feels at the moment,
Go back home, I guess.
Let's do it again tomorrow, Ramon.
In better spirits.
Yeah.